Alright, this video is to help you with Thursday's assignment on April 20th, so the 420 assignment. And you're going to be using a simulator to better understand and explore what's going on with the moon in relationship to Earth. So we know the moon rotates, or we can say orbits the Earth, but we may not understand exactly why it looks the way it does throughout the month. It has different appearances in the sky, and the night sky comes up at different times at night. Sometimes we see it during the day, sometimes we don't. So this is an opportunity for us to kind of explore what is it that's causing the phases or the different appearances of the moon. So by the end of this, we should be pretty confident about our understanding of the moon's behavior based on how it orbits Earth. All right, so first things first, how to get there. So you Google lunar simulator. That's all you got to Google, lunar simulator. And the choice you're going to make is clicking on Lunar Phase Simulator, University of Nebraska and Lincoln, Astronomy. So you click here. And this is the first page you see. Don't worry. All you got to do is click on this guy right here. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Using this simulator, we're going to explore and use it in different ways in order to complete some of the worksheet questions we have. And this is what the worksheet looks like, but we won't answer each part. So page number 1, question number 1, is there a dark side of the moon? Well, you can play with the simulator. You can move the moon right here. It can be adjusted at all times. And you can decide, is there a side to the moon that never gets light? So play with the simulator and then decide and write it right here. How long does it take the moon to complete one cycle of phases in days? So how long does it take it to orbit one complete perfect orbit around Earth? So you take it and you click it and then you can move it all the way around. You can see if you go 25% of the way, 7 days have gone by. So if you go and complete and drag it all the way around back to where it says, and you go full circle around again, and it needs to show 0 hours. So if you drag this all the way around, right before it says 0, how many days did it take, basically, to start over again? So when it says 0, that's the start of the cycle again. How many days did it take? And that's what you'd write right here. If the moon is full today, what phase do you expect it to be at in a week? So how many days do you think it takes for the moon to go from full, and so when it is full, what would it look like a week from it being full? So you go to the phase and do whatever you got to do to make it look full, and you can see, boom, it's full there. A week is 7 days, so 7 days later. So once you get it in looking like a full moon, you then have to let 7 days go by. So you got to get to day 20. So 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And what does the moon look like? You just describe it. Up here, the simulator will always tell you what's the phase of the moon. So there's different names. New moon, waxing crescent. Waxing. So what does waxing mean? Well, down lower on the worksheet, it gives you some definitions. Waxing means decrease in magnitude, brilliance, and intensity. To decrease in magnitude, brilliancy, and intensity means the moon is in a place where it's slowly getting darker. More and more of the moon is getting shaded or not looking bright. So whatever part of so as you move the moon around, you'll find that at times it gets darker or it gets lighter. If it's getting darker, watch this. It's getting darker right now. Darker means it's waning. But if it's increasing in its light, watch this. It's dark, watch. It's slowly getting brighter. That means it's waxing. Remember, the worksheet said waning means it's increasing in how much shade it's getting. So waxing means it's decreasing in how bright it is, and waning means, again, so if something is waning, it is decreasing in magnitude or how bright it is. So to wane means that you're increasing how much shade the moon's getting. If you're waxing, waxing means that the moon is receiving more light, it's becoming more intense, so it's the opposite. So waxing is the opposite of waning. Waning is you're getting a decrease in magnitude or brilliance or intensity of the light. In other words, the moon is getting less light and it's darker looking. Waxing means that the moon is slowly increasing how much light it's getting. And then gibbous is a word that means convex or rounded, also hunchbacked, having a hump. So what does that mean? Why would gibbous be called having a hump? So let's find it in the lunar phase. So remember, right here, waxing gibbous. So it has this sliver right. So a waxing gibbous is almost fully illuminated. Now remember, waxing means it's increasing in its light. So check this out. As it's waxing gibbous, it's slowly increasing how much light it is. Let's go to waning gibbous, because there's two forms of gibbous. And waning gibbous, remember waning means light is reducing. So as it's waning gibbous, the shade is increasing. It's the opposite of waxing gibbous, right? So watch this. So you can see waxing gibbous, as it's waxing gibbous, right? Here we go. Waxing gibbous is you still get the same amount of light, but it's slowly going away as it gets brighter, right? The shade's going away as it gets brighter. Waning gibbous means that the shade is slowly increasing to create the same shape. So either way, you get a gibbous shape, which means that the moon is close to full, but not quite. So here, for waning, gibbous, and waxing, you need to draw a line to which word matches it, which we've talked about already. All right, the next task. For each of these images, you want to be able to explain what phase it is and what order these should go in. So it says start, so the first one that it gives you is B, and it says it's waning gibbous, and that's going to be the first phase in the whole problem here. So we have to label A, B, C, D, E, and F, but we're going to start with number 1 here, which is waning gibbous. So we go to the simulator, put it on waning gibbous. It is on waning gibbous, right? So what you got to do is you got to figure out which one of these is next. So if it's waning gibbous starting with, you let the phase go by naturally. So that means counterclockwise. So the moon always moves counterclockwise. It always moves like this. This is the way you should always let the phase simulator run. In fact, if you just start it on 0 days or 0 hours and just start it, it will naturally go this way. So if you hit start animation, it will run on its own. You don't have to always control where it goes. It'll run always. But if you want more control, you can do that. So it said the first phase is waning gibbous. So you go find waning gibbous, done. And then it says, what's the next one? What's the second one in the order? Well, I don't know yet, but I'm going to use the simulator to find out. So I'm going to slowly go and see what it changes to. Third quarter. So it's half lit up. Let's see if that is an option on here. And it's shaded on the right side. So the right half is shaded, the left half is not. So let's see if there's anything that matches that. And we have it right here, F. So I would write order number 2, and I would write in here whatever phase it says. So it says third quarter is the phase. So I would put number 2, because it's the second order, and I'd put, what was it again? Third quarter. So I'd write second, third quarter. Now, I can already tell that this is going to become this. So let's find out what that's called. So I'm going to keep going a little, and look at that. It's called Waning Crescent. Crescent is what this is called, that sliver of light still showing. But it's waning because the shade is slowly decreasing how bright the moon is. So the moon is getting less bright, it's waning because it's getting less bright. The brightness is reducing or decreasing, so it's called Waning Crescent. So I would say order number 3 here, Waning Crescent, and complete the rest on your own just by completing the cycle. Continue going around the orbit and let it do its thing. But make sure to get the proper name for the phase. All right, the next task on the worksheet is just place the moon in any of these regions of its orbit and figure out what is the name of the phase and write it in the blank. Right now, it's in this position and the phase is called new moon. So I would go back to the worksheet, and right here, where the moon is currently in the simulator, I would write in the blank, new moon. For you, continue to find the other locations. So right here, let's do the next one here, just to give you another example. So I put the moon about right here, and it says waxing crescent. Remember, the shade is reducing, so it's waxing, because the light is increasing. When the light, or the part of the moon that's increasing in how bright and light it is, that means waxing when it's increasing. Because it is increasing in how much light it gets. Alright, but the name is Waxing Crescent, so I go back to the worksheet, and right here I would write in Waxing Crescent. Do the remainders on your own to finish it up. Skip these next questions. Skip these. This is really important to know. You may be surprised when the moon is full. It's on the side most far from sunlight. So this is a full moon right here. The moon looks full to us when it's on the complete opposite side of us. Watch this. It's a full moon. It's bright. But look, the sunlight's coming from this side. You would think if the sunlight's coming from the left, you'd think when it hits the Earth, the light on the moon would get blocked. Like you wouldn't think that the light would go around it and shine brightly. Something's going on. What it's trying to show you is in this image, the moon isn't perfectly level with the Earth. It actually orbits around us at a higher plane. So it's actually a little higher elevated. Otherwise, the Earth would always shade the moon when it was behind or on the right side of it. But because the moon is a little tilted upward at an angle, just like this line shows, even though the moon is more to the right than the Earth, sunlight has no problem going in a kind of a straight path to hit the surface to make it full. All right, the final thing is moving all the way down to this worksheet. That's your final task. It's, let's see what page number it is. It's page 7, right? Now page 7 is the final task I'm going to have you do, and you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 problems to do. And it's really easy, but notice that each question, it changes the direction or the area where the sunlight is. So that makes it a little more complicated. Sunlight's coming from this time, from this angle at one point. The sunlight's coming from the right this time. This is coming from an angle, the bottom left. Each question, the sunlight comes from a different angle. So you're thinking, well, how could I solve this if in the simulator it's always coming from the same direction? Because in the simulator, the sunlight's always coming from the left. You can't change the angle at which the sun hits it. But you can do something. So the worksheet says, in order to complete the stuff, you may need to rotate your paper, your worksheet, and hold it up to your screen to check your answers. So you can take this worksheet right here. Sorry, let me go get it there. So lay this page on your desk and spin it around until you create something that looks like this. And then decide, well, what is the phase that it's saying? And then you write the phase right here. So place this paper on your desk and spin it until you create an orientation or an appearance that matches what the simulator looks like. And based on that information, record the day, how much is illuminated, and the phase that it's at. All right, this will be the more challenging part, and that's okay. Good luck with it.